Well, it's a long story. I've been in Newton County. I guess I'm probably we moved from Atlanta when I was about age 4, and I remember the move. And we we lived on a grandfather's farm out of Stewart Road in the Spring Hill, section of the Rocket Plain district. Anyway, we've been living there. My granddad had a farm. He had like 400 acres, I think it was, and he let his siblings have, part of the land. So all the land around there, he joined his. And we farmed that land up until I went into the Army. Let's put it that way, And went to school at the Rocket Plain. It was a schoolhouse there and the cemetery there at Rocket Plains. Went there, must have been, I don't know, might have gone there for a year. I remember going there. Then we moved up to, on 162, they built a schoolhouse there at Country Road, behind Country Road subdivision there. And went to school there, maybe a couple of years there. Then we went over to Livingston. We were transferred to Livingston. Over Livingston. We had to ride the bus over there. So then after that, then I, went to Washington Street School, and after that, history, I used to ride with my grandfather uptown on a mule and wagon, 2-horse mule and wagon. We would park the wagon and the mules in the back here behind the courthouse here, right? And I would help him go to different stores, the hardware store and around about, and I had a sack that, whatever he bought, I had to put it in the sack and carry it. And when we got ready to leave to go back home, he would always go down to Patrick's Feed and Seed, which is right over there, buy some cheese and some soda crackers, and that's where we'll eat going back on the mule and wagon. So it was a long little ride. Have no idea how long it would take to drive a 2-horse mule and wagon from here back to the farm. I experienced it. Even when we would come to uptown, there was a water fountain right out front there on the porch there, and it said white only. I don't remember where the color where the color one was at. It might have been over in the corner there. I don't know. I do know that the sheriff department used to be in the office where Miss Jackie's office. That was the sheriff department, at that time. But that was a grocery store, a little country store that we used to have to go to out in my area. It's over at where Rocket Plain Road crosses 162 in that area there. There was a store there, and we'd go in there sometime. Mother then would send us, to the store. And I mean, we were like a mile and a half away. We had to walk through the woods to get there. So we'd go in the store, and hey, that was, that might be a white fella, standing in the corner over there, not doing anything, just talking, and to the store owner, and I have to stand back and wait, my turn. Not only that at that store, but it was the same thing, here uptown in the grocery store. You have to just stand back and wait your turn, But I experienced all that. I was in the Army 3 years and 3 months in the Army. I went in October 1961, and I was discharged in January 65. I extended my time. That's why I had 3 years and 3 months. I did my basic training at Fort Gordon, and I did my AIT at Fort Gordon Signal Corps. So I was a Signal Corps specialist, and I left Fort Gordon and went to Camp Pickett to a strike outfit, and we had to be on call at all times. We was during the Cuban crisis. We were put on call, but we didn't have to go to Florida anything. But we were on call, and then they moved my unit down to Camp Pickett, Virginia, which was a relocation post for the Pentagon. And while I was there, all we had to do it was a deserted post, but they had all the amenities there for the Pentagon in case something went wrong. And we had to make sure that all the equipment was checked, and every week, and make sure everything was functional and so forth. So I worked in the communications center there at Camp Pickett, and that's where I got my orders to go to Vietnam. So I went to Vietnam. Was assigned to the 39th Signal Battalion, 232nd Signal Company in Bien Hoa, and I was put in charge of a detachment unit, and our job was to relay messages from the troops in the field. And at that time there was no combat units there. There was nothing but advisors was there, and we would always receive messages from them if they needed help or whatever they needed. So it would only be 2 or 3 guys go out with a Vietnamese unit and so forth, but we had to make sure that they was taken care of and everything. I do. I think I was working at General Motors after I got out of service and everything, so I was working there, and we would. Well, anyway, it didn't really have too much to do with the school system at that time, because my kids wasn't old enough to go to school. So but do know about it. That good friend of mine, Forrest Sawyer, of course he's passed now, and I know he was instrumental in help desegregating the schools and so forth, and he and I were got to be real good friends and everything. Well, when they began doing this, cleaning cemeteries, I think one of my large brothers, Kerry Belcher, had contacted me. They had cleaned off the cemetery at Grace Chapel, and he had asked me, if I would, needed some wood, or help him haul the wood from there. So after that, they had did a marvelous job down there, and they did it on King's birthday, and of course they had to go back and do other work, stuff like that. So, but Forrest and I, he kept at me, and Kerry, kept at me, about the cemeteries and so forth. So anyway, we decided we go out and do that on King's birthday. So it's been an annual thing, except the last year we didn't go. And Laura Bertram, them with Hands on Newton, they usually furnish me kids and so forth, students to help me out, and of course we get volunteers from the community and sheriff department help us out, and anyway, we just however we can get it done. I just usually just go out and pinpoint a cemetery that I think need taken care of, or try to, and hoping that the families and descendants will continue that that stride. But we can only do so much. I mean, with volunteers, I had several people that have asked me, how about cleaning off our cemetery? So I'd go and look at it, and I said, well, part of it's already clean. I mean, it's manicured, or why can't they, just move back just a little bit further, and . So I refuse to do, that type. I try to go to the ones that been neglected for years and years, and which we do have, many of them. There's a cemetery down on Henderson Mill Road, that old slave cemetery, and we've gone in there. I think Chief Ellis, he and I doing his administration. We went in there and trying to do some work there, but it's just too hard to do because you got trees, 3 foot in diameter in the graves, and I brought it to the commissioners' attention several years ago that really need to do something about that, and hopefully one day that that we wake up and take care of what needs to be taken care of. And like I say, I tell my grandkids all the time, to try to learn as much as you can about your ancestry and stuff like that. I wished 1,000 times I would have asked more questions. All it would took just a question. I mean, hey, why is this? Why is that? But we didn't do that, and now that's lost forever, and stuff. But. But anyway, you try to learn as much as you can about your ancestry, and try to do better. Do better. That's all I can say. Do better. Yeah. Well, I guess I feel I see things need to be done, and I just go ahead and do it and say, if it's gonna get done, I mean, I'll do it. I mean, if nobody else gonna do it, But you just have to do what has to be done. Our church out there at Good Old Baptist Church there on 162. Hadn't been long, got out of the Army. I just remember exactly what year it was, but I worked in the church. I worked in the church and seen things needed to be done. I know we needed to, try to build a new church and everything. So I told them that that's what we needed to do. So we started, with a building fund, and money couldn't be used. It had to be used on a new building, and stuff. And anyway, I, instrumental engineer, not engineer, but oversee, once the church decided we wanted to build a new church, and we, oversee it all the way, and watched every brick go in, every piece of wood go in, and worked it every night on it, until we, got it done, But anyway, that was a challenge there, and if something got to be done, I mean, hey, let's do it, just do it.